Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Football.
Welcome into Inside Arkansas Football, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very special stream, a very unique stream, because if you haven't heard the news, which you may not have because it literally just happened, the Arkansas Razorbacks have officially dismissed Sam Pittman as the head football coach of the University of Arkansas. And we're going to give our reactions. I'm John Neighbors alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis. And guys, I'm just going to go ahead and read the statement officially from the University of Arkansas, and then we'll get into each one of our thoughts, because I know this is a crazy, crazy time anytime coaching changes are made. But the statement was put out here by the University of Arkansas, where they say Arkansas has made a change of leadership with the football program with the dismissal of head coach Sam Pittman by Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics Hunter Yurachek. Pittman was named the 34th head coach, blah, blah, blah. It says offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino has been appointed as the Hawks' interim head coach for the remainder of the season. Petrino served as the head coach back in 2008 to 2011. And as you can see there on your screen, here's the quote from the athletic director, Hunter Yurachek, saying, quote, "I want to thank Coach Pittman for his service and dedication to the University of Arkansas throughout his time as head coach. From day one, you could tell how much the opportunity meant to him. At this time, however, I feel a change is necessary to put our student athletes and programs in the best position to be successful. The goal of our football program is to be highly competitive within the SEC and compete for a national championship. As we move forward in the process of finding our next head coach, I am certain we will be able to provide the necessary resources to our staff and team to reach our goals. We will begin a national search for our head coach, next head coach immediately, and that will include, in the search, Bobby Petrino, who has expressed his desire to be a candidate for the full-time job." So, fellas, go ahead and kick it off to you. Your thoughts and reactions to the firing of Sam Pittman.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, we thought that's where this was headed. You know, we wondered if it might be the case last week. And I think we were all in agreement that if yesterday against Notre Dame went the way that it did, there was really no other way. And so here we are, you know, the next day. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone, honestly, you know, like going back. We're just rolling the clock back. Bobby P taking over. Very, very interesting that they would include in the final sentence of that he's expressed his desire to take over the full-time job. I don't know if we should be reading too much into that or not. Yeah, nationwide search beginning now. We still have, 7 football games to play this season. So it's going to be a hell of a job interview opportunity for Bobby Petrino. Hate it for Sam, the man. Like, yeah, you just never like to see anybody lose their job, but it's a business, man, and he's going to be well compensated for everything that happened here. It was time for a change. Kudos to those who made the decision to get it done here. And now it's like plane tracking season for 2 months, baby. I mean, this is going to be unreal, and it's going to be rumor mill for 2 months, because they're not going to name a head coach until the season's over. Any active head coach is not going to leave his job right now to take it, and they're not going to do that to Bobby either. So we're going to be able to speculate and have hot boards and update and add names and remove names and go crazy over the course of the next couple months here. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, every Saturday for the rest of the season is now going to be scouting season, scouting the new coaches, scouting the candidates. You're right, and that is going to be you know, a crazy and wild process, and I look forward to that in a weird way. You mentioned the last line. I think maybe in that last line when they talked about Petrino, they maybe should have put first reported and then subsequently retracted by Brandon Marcello, but still first reported by Brandon Marcello. But in all seriousness, this is not a. I know there are a lot of people that are like celebrating, you know, of like, oh, heck yeah, like we finally, this is what we wanted and we got it. And that's true. I mean, we knew a change was needed. We knew a change was coming at some point, whether it was going to be today or later. And I think that nobody really is going to have a hardcore disagreement with the decision. But make no mistake, this is not like a joyous occasion. This is not a day that like I think I've been looking forward to by any means. Did I know that this was inevitable? Yes. Did I know this was one day going to happen? But I guess I'm like sadder than I thought I would be, just at the kind of realization that it really is over. The tenure is now, it is what it is. We can talk about how successful or positive, or if it was, we can grade it out, I guess, but it is just crazy that it really is over now. And it feels like just yesterday we were doing this whole song and dance of, well, Arkansas got the coach they needed. They didn't get the coach they wanted. They got the coach they needed. And it sucks that all of those like positive memories that we do have it'll take us a while before we can even really revisit those, because right now, the pain of right now and the pain of where the program is now being left off at is kind of fresh on our brains, and as it should be. And that's kind of the unfortunate reality, is that this could have happened before, and now all the people that wanted Sam Pittman fired in 2023 feel very vindicated, as they should. They should, absolutely. This just sucks, but you move forward, and now the thing that I'm very interested in, and we're going to get into it all, I'm sure, is the assumption, which is you can make by the statement, that Hunter Yurachek is going to be involved in this decision-making process moving forward. That's maybe the next question I have of big picture. And again, I know we're going to break it all down, but I'm sad, but I'm also understanding, and I'm hopeful for the future. That's my statement.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, guys. I mean, I feel it's similar to where it's not something you rejoice in. I know people are happy. People are happy for change, but there's no doubt that Sam Pittman, and we don't have to get into everything that's been said so many times before about, he wanted the job. He got up there. He cried when he first got the job. And, it's just unfortunate that it didn't work out. I mean, I felt like Sam Pittman did a lot of good things. He did help Arkansas get back into some sort of relevancy. He did make them at least competitive, but it just wasn't enough, especially after 5+, I guess now 6 years, essentially. It just wasn't enough. And, I personally, I don't know how fans feel. I don't know how you guys feel, which, everyone's going to have their own feelings, but I have no disdain for Sam Pittman. I have no saying I'm good riddance, get out of here type. I'm going to look upon Sam Pittman in a favorable way as he moves forward with whatever he ends up doing. I assume that since he said it was his last coaching job, that's it. And if he's going to hang down there at Hot Springs and Lake Hamilton, good for him. And you know what? If next season or whenever he's ready, if he comes back to a Razorback game and he's on the Jumbotron or whatever, I'll cheer for him. Like I will have that feeling towards him. So, but I can believe that and feel that way, but also understand that the time had come. You had to make a change, and you made the change. And so I hope everybody feels, with the level of respect. Again, you can be happy that there's change, but remember too, not only is it Sam Pittman, but there's going to be a lot of people's lives impacted. We're talking about not just assistant coaches and everything, but you're talking about trainers, you're talking about GAs. I mean, everybody involved is going to be impacted by this. So just, again, keep it in mind. But it was time. And honestly, guys, I know we've talked about it. I'm glad it happened now. This was the time for you to do it. That embarrassing showing you had on your home field yesterday it's still incredible to think that you gave up 42 points and a half and the other team got the ball back the next day. I mean, it was embarrassing, and you had to make a change. You had to make a move. You had to send a message. I know there's a lot of different moving parts to this that we're going to have to break down, but it's just as far as the Sam Pittman angle goes. Again, I'm going to look upon him favorably. Thanks, Sam Pittman, for taking the job and doing the best, because I think he did try, but it's a performance-based business. Change is happening, and it needed to happen now.
Yeah, I'm going to look at this whole situation favorably for Sam Pittman too. This is just part of the dark side of college coaching. And Andrew and I talked about this on the post-game show yesterday, to where, when Sam Pittman was hired, the program was obviously in a really bad situation. And I think we all felt at the time, like, was Sam going to be the guy that lifts Arkansas to new heights and takes them to a national championship? I don't know if anybody really believed that. They certainly didn't have the evidence from his resume to believe that, but it was more or less, hey, can he be the guy that gets this thing out of the ditch, back on stable footing, back on the road, and then pass it off to the next guy, kind of like the setup man on a bullpen. The thing about it is, the only way for that to work is if you go out on your own terms. Like, it would have taken Sam Pittman to say, maybe at the end of last year, and we talked about this quite a bit at the time, man, the hip, I've got to get surgery and everything. Maybe this is my time, and I'm going to leave the program better than I found it. The alternative is, there's only two ways to do it. Like, you win and you go out on top. Like, some people win a championship and then they retire. It's like, oh, I've achieved everything I need to achieve. I'm good here. Or it gets bad enough to where you get fired. Right. And then there's no situation in which a program is not in some sort of dire straits when somebody gets fired, because it's either performance based or there's some kind of big scandal that forces it. Right. And Sam Pittman's not a scandal guy, but the natural progression of coaching here is that this wound up becoming kind of a crap show here. And now that he's gone, so people are going to look at it and say, man, the program's in a tough spot. The guys are quitting on the field. We had to do this in the middle of the year. Is it better than it was under Chad Morris? That's just the way that it works in coaching with 99% of firings here. I hate that it got to this spot. I thought he served the purpose that he had well, but they waited too long. And now we got to this point. And you're right, John, though. If you're going to do it, now's the time to do it right here. Because if you watched that game yesterday, I think it's pretty easy to tell that there's not going to be some miraculous turnaround. They're not going to go find the rope and grab it and start pulling all in the same direction again. That's where we're at here. I know a lot of people were talking about, oh gosh, just wait 3 more games until, they lose more and the buyout drops or whatever. Those are also 3 games that you're going to have to pay him his full contract to coach. You know what I'm saying? So like, it wasn't that big of a difference monetarily anyway. So I appreciate Sam for everything that he did. It was time. And now we turn the page and move on to whatever is going to be next. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, Curtis, I love everything that you said, especially about what usually happens when a tenure ends, what your state of your program usually is. And like you said, very rarely you have the guy who's going out a hero. And so it's kind of just one of those things you just have to live with. But that's what's, I think, most frustrating to me. And I want to, by the way, clarify, because I see people in the chat, when I said I was sad, it's like, hey, this is a sad thing, sad day. People are like, oh, why is it sad? I mean, they had to fire him. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not sad about the decision. I'm sad because what we're going through right now could have been avoided. Is what I feel. And I feel like there were multiple opportunities, 2023 and 2024, where we all took big picture looks at the program. So much so in 2023, they put out a statement having to announce that they're retaining him after a 4-8 year, basically saying, hey, we thought about it and we decided to stay with it. And then in 2024, they didn't put out a statement, but it was very much, I think, they thought about it. They had the discussion and chose to run it back with Pittman. And once they did that, the 3 of us, who, by the way, all 3 were united in kind of saying, hey, probably need a change after last season. We all just said, all right, fine. You're going to run it back with Pittman. We'll just, we'll move forward. We'll cover the team. We'll do what we got to do. But it just sucks that, because to your point, Curtis, yeah, it is it's the way college football works. Usually when you're hiring a coach, it's because your program fell to a point that he has to recover it. I just feel like Arkansas had a unique opportunity last year to end the tenure on their terms. You had a hip surgery that was a built-in excuse to do it. Financially, it could have made some sense if you had worked out some type of buyout there or some type of agreement. Sam Pittman could have gone out like a hero. And again, we'll do the conversation of how do we grade and assess his tenure overall. And I think I agree with your sentiment, Curtis, that had it ended last year, we would have looked at the tenure and had no doubt about it. Like, hey, it wasn't like a great, awesome era, but it was a very successful for what he was asked to do, which was get the program out of the ditch. Now here we are. Now we're in a point where the program is headed back kind of toward a ditch. And by the guy who is now driving that program is the guy who famously has driven into a ditch before. So the parallels are just hilarious here. But in all seriousness, like, now we kind of are in a point where whoever it is that's going to take over, whether it's Petrino or someone else, now is back in the position of having to rebuild from scratch, where I just felt like if they had made this move last year after 2024, after you win the Liberty Bowl, sure, you would have still had a ton of portal exits, but it wouldn't have felt so much like a cleaning house, going back to the drawing board type of mentality.
Yeah, because listen, again, I agree with you guys. It's you missed the boat last year to make this again, I don't want to turn it into just a bashing of the leadership, but it's like, it's poor leadership, man. Like, if you just would have changed everything, like, you just feel like you wasted the past 9 months because you ended up firing him anyways. 4 games and there's 5 games into the year. I know it's almost the halfway point, but geez, it's like you just feel like it's all been wasted over the past 9 months. So, but yeah, so I mean, again, in case you're just joining us, or if you can't read the title, Sam Pitman has been officially fired as the Razorbacks head coach. And guys, I know we'll have chats. We'll try to get to everybody's reactions because this is going to be a lot going on here. But let's kind of move into the Petrino angle here, because that's as far as the immediate moving forward. It says in the official release that he has been named the interim head coach, Bobby Petrino. Now, he's also interested, as you said too, and as we read, that he's interested in the job on a permanent basis, to be the head coach. So let's just look at it from the perspective of this year. Petrino as interim, good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. Just how do you guys feel about that as far as the rest of the season, going into a bye week and then having Tennessee on the road in the next week?
I mean, I don't think it necessarily changes my thought process on how the rest of the season is going to go, like in terms of wins or losses. Maybe it rallies the guys to play a little bit harder or focus up a little bit more. You know, like sometimes it can be a reality check when, somebody you've been going to war with or whatever gets fired. But my question is, and I mean this as respectfully as I can possibly get it out of my mouth, what was Sam Pittman doing anyway? Like what was he contributing to the cause here besides pregame speeches and poor in-game coaching decisions and not knowing how to use timeouts or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like my point is, maybe this is the better way to say it. He's the CEO type of head coach. Bobby Petrino is running his offense. Travis Williams is running his defense. So, the situation, I don't know how much it actually changes here. It's going to be interesting to see what Bobby does different. I'm sure the offensive guys will rally around that. Defensively, is Bobby Petrino taking over going to make those guys play harder? Is it going to make Travis Williams call a better game, assuming he's still employed here? Those things I don't really know. So I saw somebody earlier in the comments that was like, well, I don't know if we should really judge Bobby based on the success or failures of these final 7 games, given the situation here. And I get that. It's like you're going to have to look for some subtleties here for sure. And then the other thing I think you have to consider, maybe more importantly than what this looks like the rest of the season, like you don't want complete give up. Like they don't need to be out there getting blasted and everything. Are they competitive the rest of the way? Do you see some subtle improvements? Okay. But more importantly to me is Bobby Petrino the guy that's going to rally the people with the deep pockets to start investing more into football? Because that's exactly what you need. As I look at, Arkansas doing this big coaching search and everything, there are a lot of jobs that are already open. Virginia Tech's open, UCLA's open, Oklahoma State's open, Stanford is open. There's several jobs that are open here and more to come. And so whoever's going to be at the top of your wish list is going to be at the top of everybody else's wish list. Those coaches are going to have decisions to make too. And they're going to look at it and say, okay, let's look at Arkansas's NIL situation. Let's look at their leadership. Oh, here's the athletic director. Wait, what is this he said about football not being able to succeed? What is this he said about not paying their coaches? What is this he said about their budget for their assistants? What is all this going on? Oh, they're not financially able to compete at this level. You got to get all that rectified. And what it's going to take is a type of hire that excites people enough to donate and to invest in it. And if Bobby Petrino is that guy, I think that will go further for him than randomly beating Auburn in a few weeks.
Yeah, so I think the Bobby Petrino taking over as interim head coach, in terms of what that means, I'm with you in terms of you don't know how to really put an expectation. Like, what is that going to look like? Is he going to be on the sideline? Is the defense going to play harder? Like, those are questions we can ask. Those are the same questions you would ask if you were going to hand the keys full-time to Bobby Petrino of, would the defense be better? Would he be able to really get these guys playing for him? Would he have that belief? And so I am a person who has not really been on board with the whole make Bobby Petrino the next guy. Like, I've been very skeptical of that. I just don't see why you would be in a position to where you'd have to settle for something like that, a retread that, nobody else is looking to hire as their head coach. So why would you? I've been very skeptical of that. Bobby has an opportunity to prove me wrong, to prove whoever else that feels that way wrong. And he has a chance, to the point you made, the more important point that you made, Curtis, he has a chance to win over the opinion of everyone in the athletic department, everyone that has money in the state of Arkansas. He's going to have his opportunity. And so, frankly, like in terms of what to expect from him as interim coach, I have the bar pretty low. I think the best case scenario would be them getting back to that 5-6 win range and maybe being able to get into a bowl game if they were able to just win some close games against Mississippi State or Auburn or someone like that. And then maybe you're going into that Missouri game.
Rough timing. But no, but here's the thing. It's like, and I agree with you, Andrew, on everything you were saying. Cause it's like, it's a matter of, this is what, again, everything gets so much more complicated now. And not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, now it becomes, okay, so Petrino's got this bye week, whatever. Is the players going to be better? Are they going to play harder? No clue. I don't have any reason to believe that they will, but maybe. Let's just say that maybe. It's complicated because you got this game against Tennessee in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks now. And it's on the road. And Tennessee's a good team. And you're talking about, like, if Petrino's the head coach, gets these guys ready, if he goes in there into Knoxville and beats Tennessee, that's suddenly like, oh gosh, because then whoever's making the decision of the next head coach, whether it's Yurachek or if Yurachek's even going to be around or whoever, suddenly it's like this guy who just beat Tennessee on the road wants this job, and there'll be more games, but it's like, oh gosh. So now suddenly that throws everything into like, well, are we gonna judge Petrino's ability to be the head coach on these final 7 games? Like, is that what is going to be based on? Is it based on his entire thing? Is it based on budget? Because I guarantee you they'll probably get Petrino on the cheaper. They'll probably get him at a decently good price. But that's kind of my thing, is whoever ends up being the coach or whoever makes the decision, I'm just really hoping. And again, guys, I'm wearing a BMFP shirt. I love Bobby Petrino. But if you ask me right now, I don't want him as the permanent head coach moving forward. I'm just being honest. If they did that, I wouldn't throw a fit and say, just burn it all down. But that's not what I want. But it's just a matter of, what do you think that they're going to base it on with Petrino? Is it going to be money? Is it going to be the success of what he does in these final 7 games? What is it going to be about for them to consider him as the permanent head coach moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to the finances, man, for sure, because he's going to have to be able to build the roster, right? And in order to do that, he's going to have to have the finances to do it. So I think that's going to be the number one thing here. Man, this is going to be really, really fascinating to see. It really is, because I just can't believe that we got here. You know what I mean? I can't get over the Twilight Zone aspect of this. That Bobby Petrino is now the acting head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks again. And I don't know. I'm trying not to read too much into that statement at the end of that. I just can't believe that in the Sam Pittman dismissed as head coach at Arkansas story from the U of A, the press release, with Hunter Yurachek, that they say that Bobby Petrino, it's one thing to say the interim and then it can just be understood, right? Or you'll ask him at a press conference, hey, do you have interest in being the full-time head coach? And he can say yes or whatever. He could say, well, I'm just focused on this year and this team, and we'll see what happens down the road here. But to put that in there, that has to mean something, right? I just don't know how it doesn't.
It definitely means something. And Curtis, Bobby is not the only guy who has some selling to do to important people.
Sure.
Hunter Yurachek also has to sell to people with money that he's the right guy. And so for him to loop Bobby in this makes it even more intriguing. And John, you ask a fair question in terms of, is it fair to judge Bobby based on the last 7 games of this season? Is that a fair evaluation for what he could do as head coach? Probably not. But what else are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, if they go 2-4 or 2-5 down the stretch and they are 4-8, I just don't see how you can reasonably give that job to Bobby Petrino. Here's the thing. If they go 5-2 down the stretch, well, then obviously, yeah, that's a very different world. Everyone's opinion would be differently. And so we can have that conversation when we get there. But I think people need to be going into this, at least fans need to be going into this needing something drastic to happen for Bobby Petrino to be the head coach. But the fact that he was lumped into the statement by the U of A does seem like he's a much more real candidate than maybe I gave credit for. And honestly, I think I think you need to broaden your horizons a little bit. And then, hey, if he wins and he rallies the team and he does all this cool stuff, then maybe we can have that conversation. I don't think we should start with him at the forefront of the conversation. I think that would be a huge disservice to the position to just immediately lock in on one target like you've done for your O-line coach, your offensive coordinator, and other positions in the past.
Well, and as you just tweeted out, Curtis, and we just got an email for the statement, tomorrow at noon is going to be a press conference with both Hunter Yurachek and Bobby Petrino. I guess it's going to be similar to what it was, I guess, what was it, Barry Lunny and Hunter Yurachek when that happened. And that's that. Jeez, man. It's like, I can't wait. Like, I mean, we always start Inside Arkansas live a little later on Mondays anyways, because it was usually Sam Pittman meeting at noon. This guy's, I'm curious. I don't know. This one may go till 1 o'clock. We may not go till 1 o'clock when this all happens, because you got 2 guys and there's just a lot of craziness going on there. But it's going to be really fascinating to hear some of the answers to some of the questions that are going to be asked tomorrow.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, just the Bobby Petrino aspect of this could be an hour-long press conference itself, but this is an opportunity for assembled media to ask very direct questions to Hunter Yurachek. And I think that's what a lot of people have been waiting for. This one is going to be a doozy.
It's going to be a doozy. And guys, I guess this is a perfect segue into the Hunter Yurachek aspect of this conversation, because I think there's still a very valid question to be asked about, like, hey, is this the guy that we want to be leading us into this new era of the future? I think that's something we should all be thinking about. We've talked about it a lot. is it a unwise move for Yurachek to attach himself to Bobby right out the gate? Because now, if they stink down the stretch, it's going to be very easy to dismiss Bobby. And if it's very easy to dismiss Bobby, is it not easy to dismiss the guy who's standing next to him and who is selling you, hey, this is who we're starting. I have this great plan to lead us into the future, and it starts with Bobby Petrino. I don't know. I feel like it maybe makes it easier to move on from Hunter Yurachek, which, by the way, as someone who's been calling for that for a while, doesn't hurt my feelings. But do y'all feel like there's anything to that chess move of Yurachek kind of publicly attaching himself to Bobby Petrino? I feel like that's the stupidest thing he could do right now, honestly.
Yeah, I see that's again, you guys, you're hitting all the points because like that, the messaging in the end, I'm with you, Curtis, on what's the point of that?
I mean, a pretzel, man. Yeah.
And the only thing I can think of, and this is just me speculating, is that's what Yurachek is wanting to have happen. Because that would be the only thing that would make a little bit of sense to me. It's like you are wanting that to happen, or else why would you put that into the ether? There would be no reason for anybody, at least in the public eye and in your statement, to know that Bobby Petrino is pushing or interested in wanting to do the full-time job. Like I don't understand it. And maybe that'll be answered tomorrow. But to me, it was more about, I think that's maybe what Yurachek wants. And, to your point too, Andrew, it's like getting to this point. If Yurachek's going to be the guy, I get it because he's the AD right now. But it's like, if I'm the leadership, the board trustees, all these people, I'm like, the reason this is all happening is because of you, Hunter. Like you wanted to keep Sam Pittman, and you kept him, and he lasted 5 extra games, and now you fire him in the middle of the season. And then after seeing that decision be made, you want us to believe that you're going to be in the best position to make the next decision to hire a new coach when you had the awful decision to not fire the old coach at the right time. I mean, this is what's going to be extremely, extremely interesting on like it said tomorrow, but also a few weeks, all of that. And, I'm going to know, well, again, there's so many things that we're going to have to talk about through today and throughout the week, but the angles of the players, what are their reactions going to be? What are they
officially open, by the way? So
that you could be seeing something there, or you could not see. That's what's going to be fascinating to watch for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 30 days now, the transfer portal is open. And it was, I said this last week, it was important to get this Notre Dame game in because now anybody who's played all year, they played 5 games, they're not eligible to redshirt, which means like if you have seniors, they can't do the thing where they're like, you know what, I'm just going to quit now and enter the portal and preserve this year of eligibility and go somewhere else. It's like all those guys who are like, Taylor Green, whoever, just play it out, man, because this is your last ride anyway. So like there's some strategery involved there. But other guys are going to have that option. And I imagine it'll probably just be dudes who aren't playing anyway, or who aren't happy with their role or whatever. I don't know if there'll be some major contributors who will bail out at this stage. We'll see what it looks like. But yeah, I mean, that door is open. The recruiting class that already stunk. I'm sure the remaining good pieces you get, like JJ Bush, for example, is a really good player, top 150 guy, whatever. He's out of here, man. Right. I mean, he's already taken visits to LSU and everything. Now the coach is fired. You got an interim. You don't know what's going on. You're a defensive player. Travis Williams probably ain't going to be here next year. He's out of here. So like it's you're going to be hitting a hard reset. So maybe it's important that you have gone out and got ahead of things here, and we'll just wait and see what it all looks like.
Everything you just detailed, Curtis, is why it was so important to do this now and not in December. Because if you're going through this in December, while everyone else is also accumulating their roster, it's a lot harder job. It's going to be a hard job no matter what. But going through this where you now have 2 months to do it certainly helps. And maybe it's just me being desensitized by the NIL and portal era. If there's one thing I'm just not going to lose sleep over with the University of Arkansas football program, it's people entering the transfer portal. Hell, they've been retaining their head coach each of the last few years, and they literally have the SEC lead in transfer portal entrance every single year. So it's like, honestly, that's kind of par for the course. And a lot of people hated this recruiting class anyway. And when we talked about people decommitting, they're like, oh, well, all these guys are not good anyway. So maybe that's also not the worst thing in the world. And a lot of the players that might transfer out in this window, would most of those players be around for the program anyway? It's going to be fascinating to just see all of the different moving parts, because now pretty much everyone involved, all 150 of these people, have very important decisions to make, and we'll see kind of where they align themselves.
Yeah. And by the way, like everybody in here, we need to work on our listening comprehension just a little bit. Use Talon as an example. My entire point is that if they did this last week before you got over 4 games, anybody is eligible to take a red shirt for this year if you haven't already taken one, right? So you could have done that, and the 4 games that you just played wouldn't have counted. You could have got that eligibility back. Now that year of eligibility is spent. So I mentioned seniors particularly who would have fallen under that category, who might dip early and say, man, I had 1 more year left. This isn't going well. I don't have good pro prospects. I can go make some NIL money elsewhere. Now that's not a thing. So no, I'm not telling you Talon Green is going to transfer. I use that as an example of exactly what we were talking about and why they needed to get this game yesterday in.
Yeah, that would be quite the dramatic scene if Talon Green just hops into the portal. that would be pretty wild, but it's not. Yeah, I don't. That's not going to happen. But here's another thing too, guys. I'm curious because again, there's just so many reactions, and we're going to have some more reports and people coming out. But going into this, do you guys feel that whether it was Yurachek or whoever's involved, was it a thing going into the Notre Dame game of being like, all right, if this happens, he's done. But if this happens, he's going to stay. Is it something as simplistic as that? Or was it, he's the guy. But then once that Notre Dame game took place, they're like, okay, yeah, this is not it. We got to make a change. Like, do you think that there was this I don't want to call it a rush decision, but was this something that really manifested after the game instead of being something that was planned, prioritized, and looking at options before the game?
Well, based on the way last week played out, where, Marcelo said what he said, and then for whatever reason, he kind of had to walk some of that back for a while. And then, we had the whole thing with Bobby Petrino, and then it was like, no, this isn't happening. The board of trustees does the vote of confidence and everything with Hunter. Everything throughout the week made me believe that this was not a decision that they wanted to make, but it was probably one they knew they would have to if what happened yesterday happened. I think that's the very specific factor in all this. A loss, whatever, another 1-score loss. I don't think we're sitting here having this conversation today. The way that it happened, very clear. The Boo Birds, the Fire Pittmans, the stadium cleaning out, you get embarrassed. I think they were left without a choice. So for those who wanted to make sure this happened, then I guess you're happy with yesterday's result. But no, I don't get the sense that this was something that they came into the week or went into kickoff Saturday going, yeah, we're doing this. We have to do this.
Yeah, I think, and I think that there was clearly a conversation or a thought of, hey, is Pittman the guy big picture, like long term? That conversation, it's not like overnight they changed their mind on that. But in terms of would they make a decision midseason? Would they make a decision now? You're right. Nobody goes into a game week when you have a record attendance or a top 10 in program history attendance thinking, hey, are we gonna fire the coach at halftime or after the game? Like, you're going in thinking, let's do everything we can to try and win this game. Let's try and win the game in front of us. And then let's, next week we'll do that. Like, we're on to Cincinnati, just trying to stay task oriented. And that's what football is, week to week, you're just trying to win the game in front of you. And so I think viewing it through that lens, like you said, coming off of 2 close losses, a pretty easy argument could be made. Hey, if we fire Sam Pittman, that is going to drastically hurt our chances to win Saturday, to beat Notre Dame. And so you keep status quo, you put out your messaging, you run it back, and you try to win. Once you have a game that is so definitive like that and makes it clear that Sam Pittman does not necessarily give you that players still trying and gives you the best chance to win even the games in front of you, now it's a lot easier to make that decision. Because I actually, as much as I've argued for them needing to do a move like this now, you're right that had they kept losing close games, I think you could have still had that argument of, well, until this season is officially cooked, we need to try and win every game. And then once, we've lost X amount of games, then we can make a decision. Like, we need to still keep trying to push all our chips to the front. And I think Saturday's game was just a very clear telling that Sam Pittman doesn't even guarantee you the opportunity, that you're going to give the current team their best chance to succeed, on top of the fact that we all know long-term he's not the answer.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's a lot of times these decisions, or how these decisions may be viewed, as in a vacuum. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. But also going back to the press conference tomorrow, guys, which, man, that's going to be electric. Like, I'm wondering if it's going to be one of those things that I know does SEC Network do a live thing of like, I don't know. It might be something like that. But you're talking about the media who gets to sit in there. Obviously, the firing and all that's a big deal, but you're going to get to talk and ask questions to two individuals that you almost never get chances to talk to. Like never get chances to talk to, especially Hunter Yurachek. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, my challenge to you as the media is to do that, because the media is better than me anyways. But I'm saying this is the time, and this may be the only opportunity, because I can't remember the last time that there was a Q&A with Hunter Yurachek, besides at the Touchdown Club with Baz. But this is I'm hoping that this is the time where however it's set up, if both guys make statements and they open up for questions or whatever, that you can ask Petrino stuff, ask Yurachek. This is the time, man. This is the time to be like, what went into the decision of bringing him back this next year? What went into the decision of the timing? How did this happen? How did you get to this point? Like, really, I want to see the pushing on it to find out a little bit more, as what we've all been speculating about is what's going on, like what's the status of everything. I'm hoping that's what happens tomorrow.
And I hope that he is asked, and I know everybody's gonna be like, well, why don't you ask him? Well, they won't let us in there. If they did, trust me, we would. But I hope the question is asked, why have you not embraced NIL and the changing landscape? Like, why have you been resistant to this? Do you regret that now? And then also more importantly than anything at all, and I know if anybody is going to ask it's going to be Trey Biddy, because I've heard him talk about those statements from the Little Rock Touchdown Club. So I'm sure this is going to be queued up for him, but you talk about why the football program is in the state it's in terms of not being as, equipped to succeed at the highest level like some of the other sports, but you continue to tell us why that's the case. We don't have this. We can't fund that. We're low here, but you never tell us what the plan is to get there. Okay? And you had this whole thing with the board of trustees, and it was, we believe in Hunter Yurachek, and we're gonna do whatever we can to get this football program where it needs to be. And kudos, sir, for the athletic department you put together. Nobody's talking about how the hell they're going to get this to where it needs to be. And so I hope and I anticipate that's going to be a question that he gets asked there on Monday. Which, by the way, we already have our first decommitment from the aftermath here for those who care. But 2026 wide receiver Kamion Henderson is decommitted from Arkansas. Texas boy.
There you go.
Terribly surprising. And Curtis, you're right that the job title of a head coach encapsulates a lot more than just head coaching football. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much that goes into it. And so I think that's another kind of fascinating part. And it goes back to why, I said I was sad at the start of the show, and people are like, why are you sad? Like, we hate Pittman. Like, he's out of here. It's because part of why I'm sad is because it's like, I know that this is not as simple as, hey, you get Pittman out of there, you get a good football coach in there, and all of a sudden we're just rolling and we're 9-3 every year, because it's not that simple. You need, not only do you have to have a good football coach, you have to have an upgrade in terms of just the schematics, X's and O's, who's better for your program, but you also have to have a better salesman. You also have to have a better leader of men and communicator and culture builder and all these things. And so it's like, and to your point, Curtis, of like, you always say there's an issue, but you don't have the solution to it. How are you going to, what is it going to be different about what you do, Hunter Yurachek? Like, you're going to hire a new football coach. Cool. But are you going to have any different things to equip them with? Are you going to build resources in a different way? And by the way, the one guy you're sitting next to tomorrow is going to be Bobby Petrino, who part of the reason why last year, whenever they asked him about it, he was like, yeah, I don't really have interest in being a head coach, because this new NIL world, that's just a lot of stuff to deal with that I frankly just don't want to deal with. And by the way, not the craziest stance ever, but that's going to be a big question that you're, in terms of what we want to hear asked tomorrow. It's like, hey, you guys have both not been big on the NIL thing. So why would we, the fan base, who we all agree, and you tell us NIL is an issue, why, as we, the fan base, why would we believe that you two gentlemen who have been openly against NIL, why is that going to be any vastly different? You can sell me on, hey, Bobby Petrino is just a better football coach. He's a more disciplined guy, so he'll do a better job than Sam Pittman. Okay, cool. But that doesn't solve 99% of the other issues that are also plaguing the program. And so that's one thing that I hope to get some clarity on. And I'm sure Hunter's going to have all the answers that we really want to hear.
You know what I'd ask him? You know what else I would ask him? If you, after the last year, were unable to sell the naming rights to our football stadium to the point where you had to outsource it to have another company do it for you, should we anticipate you hiring one of these search firms to do this football coaching search, or is this the thing that you think you're going to be able to do on your own? I think that's an important question to ask here.
That is fair.
Yeah.
outsourced season.
Is there a chance that you can find a John Tyson who can find a John Caliperry, or is this something you're going to be able to do yourself? I think it's a fair question to ask.
Yep. Well, and see, that's like, again, going into what you guys were talking about, what you said, Andrew, about, the not being all in on the NIL and the issues there, the Yurachek thing, it's kind of being asked of, okay, well, how do you make those comments and how do you say that? And, us not being set up for this, but how exactly are you going to allure a high quality coach when you've said that we don't have it and you haven't laid out a plan? So if you're going to do a national search, how is anybody going to be interested if you literally came out just a couple of weeks ago saying, we're not set up for that? Who's going to want to walk into that, number one? But number two, again, reckless assumption, just my thought, my opinion, all of that. Petrino being a little anti that and just wanting to be an offense coordinator, wanting to be a quarterback's coach, wanting to call the offense, not wanting to be the head coach, that's out the window now, because now it is officially like from Yurachek's mouth, he is interested in being the head coach of the University of Arkansas once again. Not only just like interested, he's wanting the gig. Okay, so if that's the case, Petrino, and you know about the NIL and you know about the madness that is college athletics right now, my only hope and assumption in all of this is that there's an ace in the hole for Petrino. If it's Frank Fletcher or somebody that has said, or that, that Petrino, when he was working the phones, that said, hey, if you become the head coach, I got you. I'm going to give you this amount, or I'm going to hook you up with this. I'm going to do this. That to me, again, this is my reckless assumption. That to me would be why Petrino would go from not being interested to now being all in and interested. Because I just don't think Petrino, being a smart guy, he is a very smart football mind. We know that. I don't think he'd want this head coaching job if he knew he wasn't going to get any support, any NIL, anything. So I feel like something had to change. And again, maybe it's Frank Fletcher, maybe it's somebody else or whoever, but I just feel like Petrino had to have some sort of like handshake deal of like, hey, if you do get the gig, you're going to get taken care of in this regard.
Yeah, maybe so, man. This is...
Well, and it answers the question. It answers the question of why would Yurachek include that little tidbit about Petrino wants the job? Because again, if he hadn't said that sentence, we all would have known that. You know what I mean? Like we would have kind of been understood without being explained. Did he maybe throw that in there because of that? What you're saying, John? Because he knows people that have money, people that have influence, kind of do want to hear this thing out with Petrino. We also know, according to Marcelo, that Petrino was quote unquote working the phones, and we kind of speculated about, hey, what did it look like? Did he get shot down? Is that why they're sending out this messaging about, oh, actually, no, we're not firing Pittman. He's not working the phones. Is it because he got shot down? Now I'm starting to think, damn, maybe when he was working the phones, he heard some stuff he liked.
Yeah, it had to be. I'm just trying to, because Petrino's not, again, it's not like I know him personally, but just knowing the type of guy he is, I just don't think that he jumps into a situation that he's going to be set up for failure in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't think he would want to deal with the headaches, because it is a headache of being a head coach of an SEC program permanently without having some sort of insurances. Like, there just has to be something there. Well, which also makes me wonder, if that's the case, does Petrino have, does he still have the know-with-all to do this? Does he still have the ability to do this in his older age? Does he already have a staff in place? And who knows, maybe all the stuff that will be talked about tomorrow during the press conference, but maybe Brandon Marcello was in all this working the phones. Maybe Bobby will be asked about that. I was like, hey coach, were you actually working the phones? Were you trying to make this happen? It's an interesting little tidbit.
He probably will get asked about that. I think about some of the stuff that he said at his press conferences, when he's asked about NIL. And I remember him being like, dude, I'm just trying to be in the room with my quarterbacks, And so I really think about, big picture, what would this look like, from like a recruiting standpoint and assimilating talent. And that's why I think it's so important. And what you're saying about, why would he get himself into this? Why would they even put that statement in there if there wasn't something to it, if he didn't have some kind of assurances? Maybe that is in the form of, hey, if you do get this job or if this works out or whatever, this is the investment we're going to make in it. Because the only pathway, just being honest, that I see to this being a semi-successful long-term venture here with Bobby is if they hook that man up with the funds to go buy a team and then let him coach it up. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So that's got to be a part of the equation.
Regardless of who the next head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks is going to be, no matter who, and whether that comes from the G5 level, whether they hire an NFL guy, an OC, or whatever, you're going to need somebody who is going to do something drastically different. And that could be schematically, he's going to try something crazy. Or, hey, from a roster standpoint, he's going to really focus on these things. Or maybe it's just a culture. He's going to set this culture. You just have to do something very different. And now oftentimes when teams are hiring coaches, you see them do a drastic shift. I mean, whenever Petrino, when that era ended, then they go to Brett Bielema, this very tough, physical line of scrimmage thing, and then you go to Chad Morris. This spreads you out, high fly. It's like there's a tendency to do something drastically different. And so honestly, I can be talked into so many different guys, but you need to explain to me, whoever it is, whether it's Summerall, Kenny, or whoever, Golish or whoever, what are they going to do at Arkansas that is vastly different than what Arkansas has been doing before? And that could be recruiting, any of that. And that's Bobby's also going to be, to your point, Curtis, what Bobby's going to have to sell us on is, okay, we can hear you out. We'll see you coach down the stretch. But what are you going to do moving forward that's going to be drastically different? Are you going to do something crazy? And that could be NIL. That could be just, hey, I've got a $25 million roster that Frank Fletcher and John Tyson are going to help me get. Saracen's going to throw in, and we're going to do this. Like, it could be that. Or it could be, hey, you know what? I sat here and watched Sam Pittman make all these mistakes in recruiting. I'm not going to make those mistakes. I'm going to recruit and find evaluations and all this stuff. I don't care, and it can be whatever you want, but will you be able to effectively sell us on that in the next 2 months? It's going to take a lot for me. It might not take – I've seen people that are already sold. They're like, hey, just give him the job. Give him the keys now. That's going to be the question that we all need to be asking ourselves, whether it's Petrino or anyone else. Are they capable of really making a change in a notable way? Not are they better than Sam Pittman? Not is this a good hire? Will they do something completely different that can take Arkansas to a different level than we've seen before? Because as we know, you're not going to get a completely different result doing the same game.
No, also, and just as a reminder, folks, we appreciate everybody listening in and watching it. It's a great audience. Be sure to subscribe and hit that like button here for Inside Arkansas, because we're not going to stop here. I'm sure we'll have some more content here over the next few days dealing with the Razorback football team and the coaching search. But we appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, press conference tomorrow at noon. So Inside Arkansas Live will go live following the press conference with Hunter Yurachek and with Bobby Petrino. So again, fascinating stuff, man. I'm almost as excited for that as I am anything else, just to see what that happens. But also, too, guys, going to the Petrino thing, and this is all I'm asking for not just the powers that be, but also for the fans, everybody. Whatever happens in that Tennessee game upcoming, win or lose, whatever, do not, and I repeat, do not immediately base your entire decision on if Arkansas loses, then Petrino's out and doesn't just blow it out. He sucks. He needs to be on. Or if they win, say, like, we got to hire Petrino. Don't just take a game. That's to me, that's the worst thing you could do, because that's how you end up with. I mean, how many times we've seen it, guys, in college sports, but especially college football, where the interim does a couple of good things and then they hire him full time and it doesn't work out. I think with West Virginia, when Rich Rodriguez, I forgot that guy's name, but he won the bowl game and they're like, give this man the job. And then he was gone a year later. It's like, do not if you want to base it on the rest of the 7 games, okay, that's fair. But don't base everything on the road game against Tennessee and just sit back and be like, decision's going to be made following this game. No, don't do that. Just let it all play out. And of course, again, there's a lot of things about it. Everyone gets impatient, but just let it play out and let's see how it goes.
John, that's fantastic advice that nobody's going to take, man.
I know.
We know how this works. It's very well said, though.
Y'all remember when Kenny Guyton, that first game against Florida, they go into the swamp, they score 40, Tyrone Broden catches a game-winning touchdown, and it was like, dude, Kenny Guyton, low-key, might just be the offensive coordinator. And then, like, by the end of the year, everybody wanted to be fired. Yep,
absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, we'll have some of your chats. Again, there's so many of them now. Like, again, we may just have to do the super chats only today. So, but we appreciate everyone tuning in. I will say, I know that we'll have time to talk about this, but you already got like On3 and everyone putting out lists for who they think is going to be, in the running for the coaching names. But I feel like, guys, the ones that we've seen in our chats for weeks, it seems like, but it's kind of going to be the same rotating deal. If it's Rhett Lashley, I've seen like On3, for instance, they've already put out their list, but saying Rhett Lashley, of course, Bobby Petrino, Alex Galesh from USF, Barry Odom over at Purdue, John Summerall from Tulane, GJ Ken, right? That's how you say his name?
GJ
Kinney. There you go, from Texas State. And then, ironically enough, Ryan Silverfield from Memphis, also being there onto the mix.
Dominant showing yesterday from Memphis. They beat the piss out of somebody. I don't know. I think it was maybe like Middleton. They went on the road and beat somebody.
Or something.
Yeah, they beat somebody bad. No Will Stein on there, eh?
No, not on this one, at least not on the on three, but I'm sure somebody's going to have them on a hot board. There's somebody's going to have them on a hot board, but
yeah, those are it's like a wide range of candidates there in terms of quality. A little bit of been there, done that, a little bit of, it's got the Arkansas connection. And then there's some of the young up and comers. I might fall a little bit more in that range in terms of my preference. I know everybody's going to want our list. And again, like we've got so many days and weeks and months to be able to talk about that. But I do kind of lean towards somebody young, energetic, relatable to the recruits, can drum up a lot of that experience or excitement and everything like that. So like I love me some Barry Odom, man, but like when I saw that name on there, I'm like, that's got to be, I think, pretty far down the list. No disrespect to him, but it's what is the ceiling for that type of move? You know what I'm saying? So an interesting list. I understand why it's on there. I was all on board the Rhett Lashley train. Hasn't gone quite as well for him this year. It just scares me, and I shouldn't connect it, but I have to because of SMU. Like it gives me Chad Morris vibes of, I have one good year at this school, and then the next year I get him to a bowl game or whatever, and it looks like I was actually trending in the direction my career was headed. I think he's better than Chad Morris, obviously, but I'm not as bullish on that one anymore. I like Alex Golish. I like John Summerall. I think they're going to be highly, highly coveted guys in this coaching carousel. GJ Kenny, sure. Ryan Silverfield, I think, is a very interesting name. There's going to be a ton that we talk about for sure. But yeah, I saw that list too, John. I thought it was an interesting starting point.
I feel like there's some guys you got to like make say no first. Like I think Signetti is a guy that sure we can argue like maybe it's very possible Signetti has zero interest in Arkansas. I just feel like you got to make him say no first, and you got to test the water on some of these in terms of Brown. Yeah, call Fran Brown, although he did get his ass whipped yesterday. So are we out now on Fran Brown?
No,
I'm with you, Curtis.
Buy low.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like the Lashley thing, not that I would like revolt if they hired Rhett Lashley. I don't view Rhett Lashley as like this awesome golden, like should be the 1A on the list type of thing. If we're going the young up and comer route, Will Stein, the offensive coordinator at Oregon, who just had a huge win yesterday. I feel like he's just a guy that if you're going the coordinator route, which maybe you don't want to, he's 35, young, has an awesome offense, clearly learned, under the Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart tree, there's something to that. Would he be able to ready for a job like this? Who knows? But I think if you're going the young up and coming head coach route, I feel like Golish is number one in that category. He's not one candidate overall, but in that category to me, he's 41, been a part of some other good coaching trees, obviously with Heupel, had also coached with Matt Campbell at Toledo and Iowa State as well, like from Russia, which is cool. He's also seems to be doing something good on the NIL front at South Florida. The fact that he's been able to build a legitimate roster at South Florida and clearly has already competed with SEC teams, competed with Miami even, like I think that is very interesting to me. And I think that's a little bit more proven than the resumes of someone like even like Summerall, who I like. Summerall took over a program from Willie Fritz that was rolling. Yeah. And he kept them pretty solid. They're going to go 9-4 again, but it's like, is he really a program builder? Has he really done anything that has earned the Arkansas job?
Yeah. That's the thing is like, when I read that list from on three, I'm like, it's going to end up being none of those guys. It's going to like, it's kind of like
never the first.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, that was not to say it's the exact same thing, but it was like, when Muss was gone, like no list you ever saw was like John Calipari, it was be the coach, but obviously that would be awesome if it ended up being someone to that level that no one saw coming. And, but even like the John Grudens of the world are going to get thrown around and everything. But it's a wild time. And I've gotten some sauces, some scoops from some stuff, but apparently, there was a text sent to the staff from that about Pittman's firing. It wasn't something that he was able to sit down with the staff or do it himself. From my understanding, it was done by the administration sending a text out there. And I'm just also curious, again, not that it matters one way or the other, but I'm going to be curious when we ever hear from Sam Pittman. Will it be just a tweet? Saying what will he thank the fan? I think, and that's another thing too, going back to the more of the positive feelings that I'll have about Sam Pittman. Like, we talked about his social media delete and all that stuff, but it's just like, he's going to handle things with class. He's going to handle it the right way. And, I think it was, I wanted to say, was it Trey Biddy yesterday in his walk and talk when he said that Pittman after the press conference went and hugged his wife, Jamie, was like, it's going to be okay, hun. You know, it's just like that's, you know, kind of that sad thing that goes on. But either way, but apparently also too, you know, Petrino's meeting with the defensive coaches right now, so we'll see how that plays out.
I hope he's getting rid of some of them. I'm so frustrated with that defense, man. It drives me nuts. I imagine they'll try to keep everything else intact. Like if you remove the head coach, you still have to maintain some kind of stability. It's tricky because it looks like they've kind of quit defensively, and that's problematic. But I don't know that there's a logical in-house replacement for, you know, T. Will or whatever. That'll be a very fascinating. I wish I could be a fly on the wall, you know what I mean, in that particular meeting. But we'll see how it goes, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is what Petrino needs to do. If he's going to fire him or whatever, he needs to do one of two things. He either needs to do one, what he did to Willie Robinson in 2011 against Texas A&M at halftime and went in and says, you're done. I'm calling the defense from here on out. So maybe Petrino does both. He calls offense and defense. Or two, he fires the entire defensive staff and then he gets the gang back together. You bring Willie Robinson back, you know, you bring, what was it, Taver Johnson, you know, all the old school coaches, just bring them back. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but that's the thing. That's another great point, Curtis, because it's like, it'd be one thing if the defense was solid or at least doing okay. And then but now it's like the worst part of this team is the defense. And the head coach is now Bobby. It's like, I don't know. I just don't. As Travis Williams and all the players all of a sudden been back. Well, now that Bobby's the coach, we're going to step up our game. I'm going to start coaching harder. Like, I don't know. I feel like there might be some resentment there. There might be some tension there. There might be some awkwardness there. I don't know. Maybe not, but there could be.
That was the murmur coming into the year. And if nothing else, and I say if nothing else, truly nothing else applies, but the one thing you do get here is, one, you get 2 weeks to figure it out. So I don't know what those conversations are going to look like with the defensive staff, but you have a while to kind of try some things. What it does offer, though, is just a mental refresh, restart. And we see teams do this all the time where you kind of make that conscious decision. Sometimes it's a youth movement. You know, in pro sports organizations, it's usually a youth movement where they get to week 10 and they say, all right, we're playing all the rookies. Maybe Arkansas goes that route with the defense, and maybe that's the only thing you can really do. But I think it just gives this staff and this personnel an opportunity to just mentally reset and say, hey, flush all that. We're going back to the drawing board and we'll see what we can find. And it's probably not going to be much. You're not going to find solutions to all these issues, but at least give these guys something they can believe in and latch onto and just say, all right, we found this. And then if you have any degree of success against Tennessee, you can say, hey, ever since we found it, we're good. And, you know, you can kind of keep playing that game. And that message can be, you know, just say, hey, we're going to fly to the football and that's going to be our new motto. Or now we're going to have this sledgehammer that we're going to hit and that's going to be our new thing. Like, you know, you don't have to do a full gimmick like Eric Musselman, but like you just have to have some type of message that you can send to that defense of like, hey, don't quit, stick around. We'll see what we can do. That's up to them. They have a couple weeks to figure it out. But I think now is just a time for a mental reset, which I think this defense needs more than anything because talent-wise, they're not going to just get better overnight.
No, I don't see that happening either. Yeah, and I saw someone in the chat, like, Scott Fountain's got to be pissed. He's like, hey, I'm the assistant head coach. I should have been the guy, you know?
Well, yeah, yesterday I had folks tweeting at me saying, oh, well, yeah, we want Bobby to be the interim. The offense has been horrible. It's ridiculous. No, it doesn't need to be the guy. And I literally responded, do you prefer Scott Fountain? I mean,
right.
Yeah, I know that's anybody because I saw some, you know, the old Simple Jack yesterday on Twitter talking about, you know, Petrino, if you make him the interim, it's a terrible decision and stuff. I'm like, what? So what do you want to do? Like, who do you want? Like, I get if you're saying permanent, like whatever, but if you're talking about the interim, you only got so many. You know, you only got so many options here, unless you want to call up Dave Van Horn and be like, hey, Dave, you want to just step in, you know, hang out, like do it. Like, I just, it's so ridiculous. Sometimes people are just not understanding that this is, there are levels to this. There are ways you have to do it. And, you know, it's just this idea that, you know, anybody that's mad, anybody that's furious about Bobby Petrino being named the interim head coach, I don't know what to tell you. He's the dude that has the most head coaching experience on that staff, and he has a lot of success as a head coach. I don't know what other option there would have been, honestly. Truly.
Andrew and I just talked about this. I hope some people watch the report card that we just recorded because we were very much at the beginning like, yeah, there's a good chance that something happens in the middle of this or we go live right away with some news. But one of the things we touched on, just like the fall from grace of Travis Williams here has been unreal. Because literally this time a year ago, like you just beat Tennessee and we're getting ready to enter a bye week. And it was very much, dude, if they don't give him a raise, like, you got to give him to $2 million at least as a defensive coordinator, name him head coach in waiting. We can't afford to lose this guy. And now he doesn't even get the interim job when the head coach gets fired. And people are like, how is this dude still employed? It's crazy how much has changed in one calendar year for that man, because his star was, it was becoming brighter and brighter. And now it's just, it's tough sledding for the man.
Life comes at you fast, man. But he did outlast Pittman.
He did.
As Pittman tried to throw him under the bus. Him and Pittman were, it's like when the teacher's coming to like get onto you, and it's like you and your buddy have to get your story together of like whose fault it was or whatever, and they're like both pointing at each other. It turned out that Pittman was the one that the teacher got onto. I have breaking news, guys. Y'all ready? One thing we're going to talk about is the quarterback situation. And I saw a lot of people. There are people. Y'all know there's people in the fan base who truly in their hearts believe that KJ Jackson is Bobby's guy. And he loves Bobby loves KJ Jackson and secretly wants him to be the quarterback. And so he was sabotaging Talon. And now that Pittman's fired, he's going to roll with KJ as his guy. Well, one thing that dispels that a little bit is KJ Jackson has put out a picture of him and Sam Pittman hugging.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's beautiful.
There you go.
So, it speaks volumes. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And again, too, it's like, you also got to remember that, folks. You're again, there's some happiness, there's some joy, there's some change coming. But, a lot of these players, it's not like all the players hated Sam Pittman. It's like, oh, man, we're glad he's gone. Maybe some of them might be. But honestly, too, real quick back to the thing of the defensive staff. Hey, if they fire the whole defensive staff, Oklahoma State just fired Todd Grantham, who was their defensive coordinator, like just now. So Todd Grantham was at Louisville when Bobby was there. So, just bring Gundy in. Yeah, just have him be like an interim. Just get all the fired coaches and just come in and put together a staff.
Well,
make it happen.
Wasn't it? Oh, good grief. Who's the coach in Nebraska right now?
Scott
Rule.
Matt Rule. Thank you.
Yeah.
Didn't last year in like the middle or the end of the year, he randomly brought in an offensive coordinator, like wasn't even associated with the program. He brought him in and was like, yeah, we're just going to have you help us the last month of the year here. And then he got the full-time job. Was it Holgerson that he brought in?
I can't remember. I do remember something like that happening.
Like that happened. So I'm just saying that's not completely unprecedented, like in the middle of the year to bring someone from the outside in.
It was Holgerson, by the way.
Okay.
They should look at Auburn's analytics and find out which down they're better in. And then whatever down they're better in, hire that coach. Because you know how Auburn does the play calling, third down coach, the second down coach. Whichever down they're the best at, cut the head off of the snake and take their best down guy and make him your second down guy.
Yeah, man, this is wild stuff, man. Again, it's just that's why you got to keep it here with Inside Arkansas, because we're going to be talking about it all. We're going to be reacting to it all and getting to everything too. And man, it's just hard to and that's why we also go live, because a lot of stuff starts coming out more and developing. Yeah. So any major news that ends up happening, if there's a defensive coaching change, we're going to talk about it. We're going to go right here. So be sure to keep it right here on this as well.
I will say that we might have a better platform for this tomorrow to be discussed a little bit more openly, but based on some of the things and I'm not the most connected person in the world, but I do know some people, some of those things I'm hearing from some folks who have those deep pockets who could contribute to the cause and, maybe potentially change a few things there. Maybe that happens. There's still a lot of consternation about who's in charge of this entire operation. That might be a little bit of an obstacle in terms of making that commitment. So we can talk about that more as soon as we have the opportunity. John, I think you know what I'm talking about here, but some interesting feedback I'm receiving on that whole situation right now. So
I'm happy to hear that, Curtis. Not that I'm like actually I will say I do hope Hunter Yurachek does not continue to be the athletic director at Arkansas, but I just hope that the conversation is had. I hope that people are kind of making these decisions and thinking, people with money, like you said, are really thinking, hey, what do I really want? And I hope that they make their thoughts and opinions heard. And honestly, this time of year, fans, I'm not saying fans have all the power in the world, but like your opinion does matter. And, I saw David actually pointed out that he put out the Pittman or the Petrino thing. Part of that is to just gauge y'all's reaction. If everyone reacts and says, holy cow, Petrino as a head coach, holy no, then all of a sudden they kind of know, all right, that's not really an option. You think these people with money and these people in positions of power don't see the way the wind is blowing and say, oh, the wind's blowing northwest today. I guess we can't hire Lane Kiffin. I guess we can't hire whoever. You know what I mean? These conversations are always happening, and so it's going to be fascinating, like you guys said, and it's just going to be a whirlwind. And that's the beauty, is that we're going to be live every day during this, which is going to be challenging but also fun. But it's also like, strap in, man, because there's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys and random different changes that happen every single day.
Yep. By the way, this is going to be, at least in my young, small, short career in media, it's going to be the 5th coaching search in 13 years that Arkansas is going to be going through in football. The 5th. It's just crazy, dude.
Sheesh.
I mean, it's almost like you haven't been successful or something. You know, who would have guessed? But also, too, yeah, last thing I'll say, I know we'll get to the chats, but last thing I'll say about this, too, it doesn't matter, but I would think it would be kind of cool if Arkansas's like next game was the A&M home game, you know, like if it was a night game and it was home and it was like, just because I think fans would truly rally behind it. But if Arkansas just gets blitzkrieged by Tennessee, and then it's like the next week, there'll still be fans, but it'll be like, well, it's not any better. But but having the fans feel re-energized a little bit, and who knows, maybe if Yurachek got the axe too, that could really get everybody behind it. I don't know, but you know, again, if they found a way to mess around and beat Tennessee, geez, guys, it's gonna be. You talk about just chaos. Everyone's gonna be like, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this, got to do that. It's gonna be wild. So, all right, appreciate everybody. Again, shout out to all of our sponsors here. With all of our inside Arkansas football content, Bet Saracen, of course, being our presenting sponsor, OZK Insurance, Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, as well as the Goat Lab Brewery. Getting into your chats. Again, we may just have to do super chats, folks, for the most part, because there's a lot of them. We'll try to get to as many as we can. C. Lynn, appreciate the super chat. It says, adding to the caffeine fund for the additional coverage this will require. Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Love that. I absolutely love that. I will say I had a lot of fun with the basketball coaching search a couple years ago. It'll wear you out, man. More so than even portal season. Like it's a little bit different. This is going to be wild. And like we said at the top, man, nothing's going to be decided until the end of the season. Like, I mean, it's going to be a couple months of just the daily, putting out fires, is this rumor? Is it fact or fiction? I mean, the content's just going to create itself here, but yeah, we're going to have to be on our P's and Q's, boys, and stay on top of this.
I mean, the Cal hiring was one of the craziest things. How long was that process? 10 days from Muss leaving to Cal being hired?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, something like that.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, this is going to be a different world where it's like tomorrow morning, people are going to be like storming the Capitol over something they think is happening. And it's like, dude, like you said, we're like 6 weeks minimum, maybe 2 months, 3 months away from something really being decided.
Yeah. I don't see any decisions, any reports, anything like that of concrete happening here in the next week or so. Like, yeah, it's it's probably going to be December until something actually happens and actually, but guys, it's also going to be that thing, that little balance of, say, if, because there's 7 games left, say if Petrino went like 3-4, or 4-3, say if they even made a bowl game, you know how weird that's going to be? Because now everyone's like, well, did he do good enough, or is it not good enough for him to be the head coach? It's going to be this balancing act even at the end of the season too.
I got to be honest with you. If given everything that's gone on here, if he goes above 500 with this situation, and he wins 4 SEC games and gets them into a bowl, like I understand the whole mediocrity and all that, but like from where he took over this point, I'd have a hard time not being pretty serious about him.
No, 100%. And regardless of whether or not we would be won over, there would certainly be a lot of people in the state who would be won over. And so and that's why it's like, I'm not saying obviously we're going to continue to talk about it, but it's like, that's why it's like, if you feel very strongly that Bobby Petrino should be the head coach, don't fret. Like, there's going to be an opportunity. Like, he's not going to not get his chance. Like, they're going to see how this thing plays out, and it's right in front of him. He's got a very tall task in front of him, but it's like, dude, he's very much got the clearest path he's ever had to being the head coach again at Arkansas. So it's like, if you're a Petrino guy, like, this is your time to shine. Yep,
absolutely. Appreciate Doug for the super chat. Says, did T. Will get fired too? Not as of right now. That doesn't mean
as of 1:18 p.m.
all bets are off. Like, we don't know, anything could happen. I would not laugh. It wouldn't be funny, but it would be kind of like something where it's like here in an hour or so, it's just like Scott Fountain's been relieved of his duties. I'm like, He was the first. Like he was the one that you told to take out. But hey, listen, as long as Juice Box out there still on the sidelines getting the guys hyped, you got to protect him at all costs.
He was drenched in sweat at like 11:23 yesterday. They showed him on TV, and I was like, "Geez."
Yeah, there were dudes out there wearing jackets and stuff, and he's just in that polo, completely soaked.
Let's hope it was sweat. Also, appreciate Jason for the super chat. Says Gruden has no buyout and is available now. We would get as much or more free press coverage as Colorado, and he would be exciting as hell. Imagine him talking to recruits. I mean,
nothing that Jason said here is an incorrect statement. Every single thing he said is true. It would not necessarily equate to football wins, but because of the fact that everything he said is true, that's why it's a real conversation. Like, that's why it's going to be a thing we talk about. And I don't, who the hell knows the legitimacy of his interest and the university's interest, but it definitely would create eyeballs.
Yeah. Of all the things it would do, it would create a lot of attention. And it would, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it would be kind of funny if, like, against A&M, you just see John Gruden on the sidelines, coach in waiting, walking around, waving to everybody, as the next head coach. Like, what is happening? Like, this is so weird. Jason also says, appreciate the super chat, says, Pittman doesn't get to retire the hero now. He chose to stay and become the villain. His choice, not ours. He's agreed. Okay, well, first off, Jason, that I will say this is a lot of wrong here. Like, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to put it to you like this. First off, again, that's really over the top. But second off, if you were Sam Pittman, you wouldn't have stepped away either. So shut up. You would have kept making your money. And you can say what you want about Pittman. Dude's a coach. He wants to win. He's a competitor. He wants to succeed. And like, how many coaches are just piecing out because of them not being very good and then taking a reduced buyout? Like, that it wasn't going to happen. So I think that was a little over the top, but Pittman did not sit here as like, he's the villain because he just decided to keep his job. What? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
If staying employed at the job that you suck at was a crime, like 90% of America would be behind bars. Like, a lot of you guys listening to this now who, we appreciate that you listen, but it's like, being bad at your job is not like just remaining employed is not a crime. I don't think, of all the things you can view Sam Pittman about, you can find a lot. Him not, deciding to just not get paid a ton of buyout money, I don't know if it is necessarily the hill I die on.
No, I don't think so. Let's see. Walmart McKenna says, Andrew said we have to pay for names. Who are y'all's top 5 candidates?
Well, we said that when we said you got to pay for names, that's like, if you give a super chat, you get to pitch us on a coaching candidate and we react to that.
Let's throw out 5 real quick, though. We can do that.
I have a list in my notes app that's been stewing here for months.
You've been wanting Sam Pittman fired, Andrew. Is that what you've been saying?
I think I like teased it on one thing where I was like, oh yeah. So the 5 names that I would throw out that I feel like these guys, we got to make sure they don't want to come first. Kurt Signetti, you got to make sure he doesn't want to come. Joey McGuire, you got to make sure he doesn't want to come. And maybe he does. According to him, he does. Golish, Will Stein, Ryan Silverfield. That's 5 names.
Yeah. And then if we know the top 2 aren't gonna show up or aren't gonna be interested in the job, then who do we add from there? Like, would Lashley be up on your
Lashley
list?
Would get it.
Summerall? Did you say Summerall?
I did not say Summerall, but him and Lashley, I feel like, are adequate.
Next. Yeah.
Kenny, by the way, if we're doing the young group of 5 coach thing, I'm not saying like Kenny is the guy you hire. You make several people say no first. I would not like, I've always been a huge DJ Kenny guy for whatever reason. I liked him when he was a quarterback at Tulsa. I like his just personality. I think he's a good play caller. I think he's done a good job at Texas State. I don't know for sure if he would be able to build a legit SEC roster and succeed at Arkansas. But if you were going to hire a group of 5 guy, in which case you've been turned down by all the top guys, GJ Kenny, I would have him like right around the Lashley area.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good list right there, I think. And I'm with you. Yeah. Guys like Signetti, Fran Brown, McGuire. Yeah, sure. I mean, you at least got to kick the tires and gauge interest. Fine. But then, after that, it's a decent list of candidates there that you can work with. Now, everybody else is going to be after them too. And we'll see what other jobs come open, but they should, in theory, especially if they figure out the other crap going on, be able to make a decent hire here.
Where's Joe Brady at these days? He's the OC in Buffalo. I'd make Joe Brady say no to me.
I've heard worse ideas.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, here's the deal. It's like all those names you guys mentioned, I'm not going to be like infuriated if they got hired, you know? Like, it's not going to be like, this is terrible. Here's what go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, we got somebody in here already. It's like, it's a bad list. We don't need another experiment. You got to understand where you're at, bud.
Okay.
Well, that's something. I mean, yeah,
they're tripping over, like $2 million of buyout money. That's why it took so long to do this. Like, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to go pay Kirby Smart's buyout and then give him $15 million a year to come coach here? Like, you got to be realistic about it.
I mean,
yeah, I'd take Dan Lanning. If let's do a re-updated list. Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, Dan Lanning.
Marcus Freeman. Well, he looked good yesterday.
Freeman looked good yesterday. Let's go ahead and get
Urban
him.
Meyer.
Urban. Mike Norvell also.
Yeah,
of course.
Yep.
Might as well throw him in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's our list actually.
Well, my thing is about the experiment thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, you say it's an experiment, but yet Nolan Richardson was an experiment. I think it worked out pretty well. You know, like there's a lot of coaches in history, not just in Arkansas, but in history that were experiments that worked out well. You know, I don't like the guy, but Eli Drinkwitz up in Missouri, that was an experiment technically, you know, but it's working out all right. Gus Malzahn when he went to Auburn, that was an experiment. So sometimes, I know it's crazy, sometimes the experiments do work out. It's just a matter of whoever's making the hire, do they have the forward thinking and mindset of that? Listen, y'all had all the names that I was going to throw out. Now I'm just saying this just because it's me and I'm dumb. But if I was 80, what I would do is my first order of business, I'd go to John Daly. I'd say, John, Big J, I know you're best friends with John Gruden. Just, do we have a chance? Just let me know. Just let me know seriously, John. And then if he says, yeah, man, well, if he needs this or he would want this, be like, whatever it takes, let's get a meeting. Let's just figure it out. Because again, I know the John Gruden name gets thrown around as a joke, but for box office, star power, fun, especially in the off season, like imagine how much fun that would be. I would definitely try to go after that. But again, any of those names you guys mentioned, I wouldn't be mad at. I wouldn't think there'd be disasters. So either way.
Could you go to the most recent super chat before you go to the other ones here?
Yeah, somebody is grossly misinformed.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up. That's fine.
Alan says Ryan Silverfield was on the hot seat coming into this year. That is an idiotic take.
I'm trying to think of who he's confusing Ryan Silverfield with.
Ryan Day.
He won 21 games in the last 2 years.
Yeah, no, they went 11 last year, dog.
Unless I missed a scandal or something, I'm not certain that's accurate, my friend.
Let me just read off the records real quick for Silverfield at Memphis. 2020 he went 8-3, then 6-6, then 7-6, then 10-3, then 11-2, and now 5-0. So, man, I wish I was at a school where if you went 21-5 in 2 seasons that you were on the hot seat. Like, but I think he must have somebody.
I mean, somebody else.
I'm trying to think of like who it is though that he's confused. Maybe Jeff Traylor.
Oh no, he's doubling down. He says he lives in Memphis and he knows. I think you're just wrong, dude. I mean, maybe you know more than we do. That's fine. But for what? Tell us why.
It would have to be a non-football performance thing. If he was getting fired, it would have to be like he was on some Todd Golden type stuff.
Riding a motorcycle. I mean, like. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, and even if he was, I don't care because he wins. So that's what I feel out. But either way, shout out to Hunter. Appreciate the super chat. Just says good riddance. All right, fair enough. Shout out to Stephen Brannon. Super chat says no comment. Just a thanks for being our go-to for all things Hogs. Keep being awesome, guys. Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate that. Appreciate you, man. Hunter also saying, why are you sad about it? He's a loser. LOL. Again, we've already covered this.
Sad about the decision and just sad that, nobody wants to fire. I mean, we didn't go into the year being like, can't wait for them to fire Pittman. Y'all did, but not us.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, again, this is never it's a happy time in the way of change is happening, but it's not a happy time because I'm like, I hate this guy. Like, I have no hatred and no disdain for Sam Pittman. The guy tried his best. He didn't sabotage the program. He didn't, come out and was like, I hate this place or go after the fans. He did a little bit, but I'm saying like this wasn't a guy that just had disdain for things, and he tried and he just didn't do it. He just didn't do enough. So I'm going to respect him because he tried. Let's see. Also, Those Band Geek says, I'll miss the man. Should have been last year. All the people showing up for the drama, like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on for breaking updates.
Yeah, we tried to warn you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Also, Paddlefish says, if you had told me in 2012 that in 2025 our big three coaches would be Dave Van Horn, John Caliperry, and Bobby Petrino, would have sounded like a fairy tale, dude. That's true. That's true. And the thing is about Petrino, which I know we know, but like it's insane that he was back here. There, he has to be the only major coach of any major college sport to not be a head coach at two different schools twice. Like he was a head coach at Louisville, took a sabbatical, became the head coach again, head coach at Arkansas, took a sabbatical. Now he's the head coach. Like he has to be, there's nobody that could come close to that. It's just wild.
Only Arkansas could hire the same coaches 7 times over the course of a decade. Like they've hired this. I mean, they fired a coach that they had hired as an O-line coach and then hired as a head coach. He has an O-line coach that was an O-line assistant under him when he was the O-line coach. And before him, the head coach is now the OC. And now we're firing the head coach to make the OC the head coach for the second time. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, and in between, they had another OC who they had hired twice as the same OC.
It's unprecedented, man. It's unprecedented. Just I
That's
feel like it's NBA head coaches just regurgitate them, man, all the time. Appreciate the super chat from Damien. He says, who would be the ideal DC to pair with Petrino? Who would get you excited?
Blake Baker. I don't know. I mean,
Pelini. Like, I mean, it's just,
yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, Blake Baker, by the way, is a guy that I'm sure will get floated around as a head coaching candidate because if you're going the coordinator route, you'd go with him. Obviously, I don't think Blake Baker is going to leave being the DC at LSU to come be the DC at Arkansas. I don't know. I have to scour the internet. I never look for defensive guys because if I'm hiring a head coach that's like a coordinator guy, I'm always thinking offense. So among all the hot shot young coordinators, I'm all in on the offensive guys. But
Ed Orgeron.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Has Ed even been a DC before?
I know he's a D-line coach. I don't know.
Good question. No, but here's my thing about defense, and this has been my theory, at least at a place like Arkansas. I don't care who the defensive coordinator is. You got to have a good one, as good as you can get. But to me, it's just about you got to have NFL caliber players, and any defensive coordinator will look great with defense with that. So you just focus on that, and the defensive coordinator will take care of itself. See, Paddlefish says, how do y'all feel about Pittman not letting his coordinators talk to the media? And do you think since he's gone, will we be able to hear from T. Will?
Hell no.
No.
One, also, is that a thing that like Pittman doesn't let? I mean, one, they do talk to the media. It's just in the fall camp and in spring practice. I don't think that's a Pittman like policy. Right?
I think it's a Kirby Smart thing from what I remember is that's how he handles it. But no, first off, I don't have any issues. You don't need to hear from the offensive and defensive coordinators during the season if you don't want to. Like, I remember when Bielema was here, he had everybody talk to the media every week. It was wild. But as far as that goes, I don't care about that. Because again, we get to hear from him in the offseason. And also too, the whole T. Will thing, I would be extremely shocked if we got to hear from T. Will ever again, like, as far as in a press conference manner. I would.
Yeah, they're not gonna run that man up there for starters, but also Petrino coming back at OC was a big part of the reason why practices got shut down.
Yep.
After camp and into the season, because we used to get 2 or 3 days during the week where we could go out and watch 20 minutes of practice or whatever. That changed when Petrino got back, and I've heard stories, John, you would know better than me, but that he was pretty buttoned up with everything. So I don't know if I would anticipate him as an interim all of a sudden making his defensive coordinator from one of the worst defenses in the country available to speak on everything after the head coach got fired. And you were probably in the position that he thought he would get if it ever came to this day. So I don't think so.
But to be fair, if the media were allowed to talk to Travis Williams, the defense would probably be playing better.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'll say to your point, Curtis, though, about BP, it was all because that kid with his cell phone at practice was filming. And ever since that moment happened, shut it down.
It's a wrap.
It was never going to happen again. Let's see. Alan. Oh, I never read that one. Tanner says, bring back Brett and give Sam the O-line. Stop.
That complete Trinity. If Arkansas does that, it just like that would be the perfect way for this to end. You bring back Rob Smith as DC, just get the band back together. That's what Arkansas football loves, getting the damn band back together.
Yeah. Even if they don't do it, there's fans that want it like all the time. Like everyone's like, yeah, Houston Nutt is AD. It's like, it's just, God,
it's Arkansas's wet dream, bro. It's like getting people that have ever driven through the state of Arkansas to come back to Arkansas. That's what they love.
Now, does Sam Pittman have to do the thing where he actively has to seek employment to get all his buyout money? Or
I don't think, I mean,
if he's done, right? I mean, we all agree with that, but like, how does that impact things? I don't know if that language is written into his contract or if he's going to go be somebody's O-line coach or.
Guys, let's be honest. Who's his agent? Jimmy Sexton. Jimmy Sexton's going to get his.
He's getting every time
in that contract to get the most money out of it. Jimmy's going to be working it, man. So
they'll have like somebody will like courtesy interview him or whatever to prove that he's trying to find work, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Also, Quinn. Hey, shout out to our guy Quinn. Sorry about the law. I mean, Auburn and Arkansas are going through it right now, but Quinn says if Yurachek is making the hire, any serious football coach won't take the job. When I sent y'all a list a couple of days ago for you to put Summerall on, though. But you're right, Quinn.
Yeah, I like Summerall, man.
Yeah, I do too. I do. I really do. Pooh Bear to Prophet just says Hunter Yurachek, you are next. We'll see.
If you're a prophet, you would know.
Prophetic.
Yeah. Let's see. Also, Pooh Bear says the clear head coach is Jesse Minter, Chargers defensive coordinator. Okay.
I love how the clear head coach. It's like, obviously, it's this defensive coordinator who's currently losing to Jackson Dart. It's clearly, obviously, this guy.
I tend to overlook the NFL guys. You know what I mean? Like when we do these things, a lot of times I don't remember to think about like, oh, this NFL OC or whatever. I guess I should probably do that.
It's a good rule of thumb because you can't hire him till February.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, maybe perhaps he does, while the Chargers might be the damn 1 seed in the AFC. You think he's just going to like dip? A lot of these coaches in the NFL, when they take jobs, they remain the coordinator. If you're the OC for the team in the Super Bowl, you remain the OC until you go. And it's like, I have zero interest in that, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. Because how many times does a legit NFL coach drop down to college and it like
really got fired? Like Rule got fired. There's not many that like leave jobs in the NFL.
Yeah, but Rule started as the college coach, then went to the NFL and then came back. So I was just saying like a guy that was like NFL mainly and then dropped down. Because we've seen a lot of coaches, make the jump. I mean, Steve Spurrier made the jump to the NFL. Chip Kelly made the jump to the NFL. Like it's happened. But as far as like NFL coaches dropping down, I'll tell you who'd be the next or at least the first one to do it if it hasn't happened. Be John Gruden. He'll be the first one at Arkansas. Duh. Geez, Allen. He's like, Silverfield is 45-21 in Memphis. Mike Norvell 38-15. Hosted game day in a much better conference. SMU, UCF, Houston, Cincinnati. Silverfield is not on the list. Did he piss in your Wheaties or something?
Also,
like I don't get it.
I think you're making up. I think you're just dissatisfied with Ryan Silverfield.
Which, by the way, like I'm not here to even argue about that. But why would you list Norvell's record, which is a lower winning percentage?
I don't know.
He's like, yeah, this guy, he's 38-15. Well, this guy's won more games or whatever. It's like, I don't like that's not really like a thing. He hosted game day.
It's not Ryan Silverfield's fault that all those schools left Memphis's conference. It's not Ryan Silverfield's fault that the Big 12 won't take their $200 million to let him in. I blame your athletic director for that. I don't know how that's a Ryan Silverfield problem. He just gets the schedule and then wins all of his games.
I really do not understand it.
I'm not saying he's my number one candidate either, but like,
right.
Citing the guy that is currently at FSU, and I know they lost the other day or whatever, but it's being like, the previous coach had a very similar record and went to FSU. So why the hell would Ryan Silverfield go to? It's like, I don't know. That makes like perfect sense to me. I'm not even really like arguing that hard. He was a throw-in name on the list. I'm not like saying Ryan Silverfield's the guy, but the notion that he was like on the hot seat and about to get fired at Memphis is not accurate information based on literally anyone else on this planet outside of you.
Yeah. Tanner T just says thoughts on Lincoln Riley. Wow.
Sure, but like, why would he leave USC to go to Arkansas?
Yeah, not happening.
I'd love Lincoln Riley.
Cliff
I'd love
Kingsbury.
Pete Carroll for that matter.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury, throw him in the mix. These offensive-minded 5 wide dudes, get them in there. Grant just says, Andrew, I'm a Charger fan and a Hog fan. Just want to let you know.
So that's why he says it's the obvious hire.
There you go. Yep. Also, shout out to Quinn. Just to give you an idea, our fan base is calling for Freeze's head and already putting out coaching lists. Well, that's another Tuesday at Auburn. I mean, my goodness, you guys got coaching
lose
lists.
to Petrino and you'll be there, buddy.
Exactly. And we could give you the final nail for your last 2 coaches.
Dude, John, I want you to ban this person. I want you to ban him to the sun.
Tucker's got to go.
Yeah.
Just because D'Amico Ryans might not lose today against a rookie quarterback, it's like 6-0 right now. D'Amico Ryans should be nowhere around any program that I love. Unfortunately, he is right now.
Oh, Quinn, I don't know, Quinn. I don't know who y'all's interim would be if you fired Hugh Freeze in the middle of the year, but it would be kind of funny if it was the battle for the interims with Arkansas and Auburn this season. I mean, it could end up being by that point in time the way things are going. Ice Cold Mint Julep says, got an intern working on private jet tracking. Nope. That's
what Jacoda's for.
What's that?
That's what Jacoda's for.
Yeah, I get Jacoda. I'm also, this is something we outsource here at Inside Arkansas. We outsource it. I got a team of, they got the eyes on the skies and boots on the ground. They're going to be checking it out because, as you guys know, Curtis and Andrew, you guys know, every single coaching hire that's ever been made and reported on started because the plane tracking. It's called it and nailed it every single time, and it's always been correct. Sharkensaw, I appreciate all the super chats, folks. He said, took too long, but better late than never. Good day to be a Hawk fan. Which, here's the thing. I know we keep, or at least I keep bringing it up. I'm like, you can still be happy, but still be sad. You can be happy change is coming, but you can be sad that that this is even having to happen. I mean, because I think that's a fair thing. But I think most Razorback fans and everyone I talked, guys, I'm sure you heard on TV, but the boos going into halftime, that was some of the loudest boos I've ever heard. And that's when I was like, ooh, yeah, this might be happening like here soon. It was bad.
Sure. Yeah, it was time, man. And respect to the man, but the hope is now that because this happened and it had to happen first, that brighter days could be ahead for the football program.
Yep.
Now you just have another obstacle in terms of who's making the hire, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Also, real quick too, from yesterday's game, I'll say I was talking with Kendall Diggs before the game. They were honoring the baseball team, and they did two honors. They honored Behiva Loy on his own, and then like the next time out, they honored the whole baseball team. And it was just funny because I was like, hey, maybe one of the guys wanted him to get down there as quick as possible. This game's getting out of hand. And apparently they moved up a couple of those honorings just to make sure to give him the rightful cheer because the basketball team was honored too. So it was really cool.
Did Kendall have a coaching candidate in mind?
He had a list on his notes app. He brought it up to me, but I'm not going to share that. No, he didn't. We didn't get into that much. But also, Old Smiles says Dabo next head hog, like from Friday. Like
maybe Samuel.
I didn't catch on to that.
Yeah. But I'm a hard pass on Dabo for me. I understand the appeal. I understand why people want it. Hard pass for me.
Yeah,
that would be a lot of people say like, who is football's John Caliperry hire for Arkansas? The answer would be Dabo, just in terms of like the guy who's kind of a little bit stuck in his ways and married to the freshman, not embracing the portal, maybe not crazy about some of the ways that things are going. Maybe his best days are past him, but Caliperry has the money people in place, and he's shown a little bit more willingness to adapt than I think Dabo ever would.
You mentioned the willingness to adapt.
Yeah.
John Caliperry is a guy who has made his living being ahead of the curve. And obviously there was a point where he maybe wasn't as ahead of the curve as he was, but he's always been a guy who is trying to find the forward-thinking way. And that is why Caliperry, by the way, it was a risk when Arkansas did it.
Yeah.
It is working out because he has been, like you said, willing to adapt. And maybe Dabo would do that. I mean, he's a very accomplished guy. Of course, he's probably capable, but he doesn't strike me as the guy who would really thrive in the NIL world. And the way I view the Dabo thing is if he has substantially better circumstances at Clemson, better talent to recruit, better pool there near him, lesser competition to face, and he is now starting to lose it a little bit, why would he do better than what he is currently doing at Clemson at Arkansas? I just don't know how you can make that case.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so. The only way I'd be like okay with Dabo is if you legitimately everyone was saying no, and like he was like 7th or 8th on your list, and then you settled for Dabo. Like that would be something. But I don't know. Just remember, folks, though, when whoever gets hired, that was their first choice. They didn't have any other coaches in mind, no matter what. They didn't even talk to anybody else. Quinn, appreciate, says it would be DJ Durkin. So, yeah, Bobby Petrino versus DJ Durkin. How about that? That could end up happening with Arkansas and Auburn. He also says the thing is, if we beat Georgia at home in 2 weeks, the fire freeze will die down.
Yeah.
We'll know more in like 3 weeks. Yeah,
I would agree with that. But and Georgia, by the way, didn't look great yesterday. I personally, I don't know if you're upset with this, Quinn. I don't expect you to beat Georgia, if I'm being honest with you.
No, I don't either. Which actually, guys, to another point real quick, because I know we've been streaming a lot, but we, again, appreciate everybody watching in and everything. Just how you guys feel, gut feeling right now. How many SEC jobs now besides Arkansas is going to be open this year that Arkansas is going to be competing against?
Let's see. In addition to Arkansas, I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
Auburn,
Kentucky?
Florida. They're not
Ooh.
gonna. I don't think they're gonna fire Stoops.
Me either. I
They
didn't think
have
were
an
gonna fire
actual
Stoops.
buyout to worry about.
Right. I think Stoops probably should get fired, but he won't.
Yeah.
I think Florida's a lock. Auburn, it's going to come down to that Arkansas game. If they lose to
Very
Arkansas,
well made.
which they very well may. If they lose to Arkansas, that's it.
You'll be able to do it again, just like you did to Brian Harsin. You lost to Arkansas, you fired their head coach. Every time Auburn loses to Arkansas, they got to fire head coach. That's the rule. Jeez. Yeah, because I think the Florida thing is interesting, though, even though I know Florida's very well off, but something that Urban Meyer, of all people, brought up was like Billy Napier's buyout's insane. Like, it's a very high buyout. So, how much is that going to play into the mix? But, it's just, but I think Auburn, unless things get turned around. But here's what's also not panicking, but man, if Arkansas ends up being the only job open and they don't end up with like a good coach, I'm like, it doesn't even matter.
So let me ask you this. Right now, of the job openings, you got Arkansas, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, UCLA, Stanford's doing the interim thing, but they're open as well. Is Arkansas the best available job right now?
I would argue yes. I can hear an argument for Oklahoma State. The only thing I'll argue for Oklahoma State is not in the SEC, dump of a town, tiny venue.
Yeah.
But it's close. It is close. There, you could argue they're a better program, more accomplished program. I think Arkansas is a better job, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a difference in some of those things and like the best position to win deal, because like I think about it could be and it should be Arkansas the answer to that question, but I think about what Oklahoma State's AD said after they got rid of Gundy, like the forward thinkingness there and of everything. And then I think about the way Hunter's been acting. And I wonder if maybe they should be a notch or two down on that list, but it should be the best job available right now.
Yeah. And I agree with that because it's a matter of the best job is no longer about, well, who's got the facilities and who's got the talent pool. It's like, no, who's got the most money? It's like who's going to, and as far as investment, who's going to invest the most money into the program? That's who's really got the best job.
And this window right here, where that statement is true, that Arkansas is the best job available, it might not be true next week. It might not be true in a month or in December, but for as long as it is true, Arkansas has to capitalize on this window right now. Like They have to be working the phones. They have to have done their research before any other teams can really start. Yep.
And I also think too, I know, again, we'll hear from Hunter Yurachek tomorrow, but if you were going to move on from Hunter Yurachek, now I'm just like wondering why, if they were going to move on, why are they even having a meet with the media? I don't know. Maybe something happens. But the point is like, if you decided with Hunter or you moved on from Hunter, whatever it is, the messaging and you go into bye week, you need to have some sort of board of trustee member, some big donor, just be like, hey, we're getting serious about this. Not some back end guy just calling from a seat, be like, I believe we can win. I'm like, no, you need to have some legitimate, like, hey, we are committed to doing this thing. Let's go do it. You got to have the messaging to get people to buy back into it. Shout out to Colton Gray. Just give us a super chat. Appreciate you, Colton.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't forget out any super chats. I did want to say shout out, though, to Steven as well as Walmart McKenna for being members of our YouTube channel here on Inside Arkansas. Really appreciate that. And also, well, this from Evan. He says, my wife got pregnant after Caliperry was announced coach. Afraid it'll happen again soon. Well, I think Evan saying that.
See you, boy.
Yeah, they have something to say.
He celebrates Razorback news in his own way.
Yeah, exactly right. And then I thought there was another one. Oh, just one. Apparently, Sam Pittman's got a YouTube account. He says, y'all should see my bank account right now. Holy cow. Yeah. Pittman's going to be fine, man. Pittman's going to be fine. He's going to be hanging out in Hot Springs. And you know what? Maybe for his own health and everything, maybe we hear from him, maybe we don't. But I would think that Pittman maybe puts out a tweet, maybe a statement, and then he just is on Lake Hamilton every day. So we'll see.
Can I thank you? Who was it? Dalton. Thank you. He said, ESPN just put out an article and said Dion is a candidate and we should do everything in our power to keep Jafard. I went to look because I was like, he might be trolling. I don't know. They have an article up with 5 candidates being SMU coach Rhett Lashley, Tulane coach John Summerall, Arkansas offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino, Memphis coach Ryan Silverfield, despite being,
despite being on the hot
in the Navy last year, and Colorado coach Deion Sanders. He says, I could have selected a more sensible name here, like South Florida's Alex Golish, or an up-and-coming coordinator from the SEC or Big 12. But Yurachek has shown he can be bold and different with who he considers for major openings. No one expected Pittman to get the job. Yurachek brought Caliperry to Arkansas and twice interviewed Sanders before hiring Pittman. Sanders, 58, has now established himself in the FBS, helping Colorado to 9 wins last season. He loves being at Colorado, which has given him complete control over the program in ways other schools wouldn't. Arkansas could offer a better recruiting location, though, and SEC competition. Maybe Sanders stays put, but I wouldn't rule out a non-traditional candidate like him or John Gruden.
Tell me
you
don't
have the name of who wrote that, Curtis?
Yeah,
that was well, it was Eli Linderman, Max Olson, and Adam Rittenberg. It was Rittenberg who had the Deion Sanders thing.
Stop. Like, see, just again, this is, I get it. It's your job and everything. It just pisses me off. I'm like, you have no idea what's going on. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
The 3 most important players to retain are Quincy Rhodes, running back Braylon Russell, and defensive tackle Ian Jaffard.
For sure on Quincy.
Yeah, but I just think that's an absurd statement. Like, he's proven he can go out there and hire and be bold, and did not be, because Pittman, he was bold. He was bold because no one, he kept saying no to people. Like, you mean bold? Get out of here with that.
More like written turd, am I right?
Colton said it with his Super J. Said ESPN said Deion Sanders. LOL. No to Deion. Hard pass to Deion Sanders. Like, that ship has sailed. Don't need to do that. Well, guys, I mean, did we miss anything? Did we do everything we needed to do? Like, crazy day.
The good thing is, if we didn't, we have a chance to correct it tomorrow. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about this for 2 hours and we're going to argue back and forth. And then we'll get to come back and do it Tuesday. And we just get to do this till Christmas. It's going to be great.
Yes, feels sufficient to me for the day.
Yes. Yeah, because again, folks, if there's ever anything that happens, some breaking news, anything like that, we're going to go live. We may look like crap because we just got out of bed. We may, look dead because we just stubbed our toe and running down to our computers. Like, whatever it is, we are going to go live. We're going to have it all right here at Inside Arkansas each and every day. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check us out and find us where all the audio podcasts are found for all of our podcasts, including Inside Arkansas Football, like this one, and talking about the firing of Sam Pittman. Still got Pod at the Palace, the bombastic podcast, Inside Arkansas Recruiting, which I've been talking with Dudley. He's going to keep you up to date on all the commitments, decommitments, the situations going on there now with the coaching change. We're all going to get a lot busier is basically what it's all about. But we're going to keep it right here and keep it happening. And again, tomorrow, folks, whenever that press conference is over is when we'll go live. It could be 30 minutes, could be an hour. We don't know, but we'll go live and we'll have all the reactions to that each and every time. So that'll do it for us. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, even see intern Cameron down there as well. I'm John Neighbors. Stay tuned with us here at Inside Arkansas. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow on Inside Arkansas Live. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody. We'll see you then.